and then why should people vote for you?
I have a habit of speaking my mind. One thing that I don't like seeing a lot is boards that have unanimous decisions. I like to see voice of dissent, not for the sake of dissent, but for the process of thinking and learning. When you have a position like Board of Trustee, you owe it to the constituents, not just of your district, but that are in the community of that school, to be fiscally conservative, be fiscally responsible, to make sure you're moving the programs forward, to not be a detriment to the university. And there are critical questions that need to be asked, and when everybody's agreeing, I wonder, are those questions being asked? And considering the state of Yuba Community College right now, I don't think a lot of those questions are being asked. So I would like to be there to bring up some questions, to pose some alternatives, and to think outside of the box.
What are some of the other colleges besides Woodland that are in the Yuba Community College District? Because it's always, I wondered
pretty
why they
big.
weren't in Los Rios.
They have, well, we also have Lake Campus. You've got the Yuba campus. There's, no, not Clear Lake. They're building a new admin facility, and if I'm not mistaken, Sutter also has a campus as well.
Okay.
So, but it covers 5 counties: Yuba, Yolo, Lake, Sutter, and there's one that I'm missing. Colusa, yes. Thank you for that one. I'm geographically challenged coming from Southern California. But yeah, so it's you've got a large base, you know, and even though my, Colusa, how could I forget that? Even though my district would represent Colusa and Woodland, I think, like I was saying earlier, the cohesion is very necessary. So while the board meetings are on different campuses, I would like to reach out, as I have been doing since I pulled papers on the first day, of reaching out to admin and asking for their story, and reaching out to classified staff and asking for their stories. And it's been very interesting. I really would like to hear from the faculty now. I'm playing a telephone tag with the Faculty Association, but as I heard, they're getting ready for school to start, so they're kind of busy. But hopefully in September, I'll be able to sit down with some of the faculty and hear their perspective. And they've got a great, unique perspective, because they were supposed to lose, if I'm not mistaken, about 40 professors, and they didn't lose any. So I would really like to hear from their perspective.
Well, and now that you mentioned that, one of the issues clearly with the national recession that's hit California even harder is, and the state budget, you know, higher education has made a tremendous brunt of that hit. So there are programs versus salaries, resources versus
Well, and not just higher
and-
education, you specifically have community colleges in that box, because community colleges get their funding from the K-12, K-14 funding from the state. And as we know, the first priority is always K through 12, and what's ever left over goes to community colleges. And where Yuba College has the lowest paid chancellor in the system, even though Nikki Harrington, the $30,000 pay raise at the Board of Trustees, are you familiar with this? The Board of Trustees in one meeting laid off some staff and had decided, okay, well, let's also give Nikki Harrington, the chancellor of Yuba Community College, a $30,000 pay raise. And the thought behind that was to make her more competitive. She's been at Yuba for a while now. Her salary is the lowest in the community college system. But it just was such poor timing. And so what they've had to do is revisit that decision. I mean, there's so many things that they could have done. They could have given her the raise and said, but after the economic crisis, when we're stable, we'll be able to help you out. But one thing that is pretty interesting is the chancellor, Jack Scott, I believe his name is, of the California Community College colleges system, took a 14% pay decrease so that he could accommodate some of the losses. And while it doesn't absorb all the losses, it was an amazing gesture that I would like to see echoed by a lot of admin. I'm not trying to count folks' money. I don't know what situations they are in economically, financially, but when you're laying off classified staff, and when you're letting go of student services programs and faculty, and you're hiring more admin, you really need to see how that is perceived by the community. You don't seem like a team player. You don't seem like you're there for the students. And I would like to see some more balance.
So we're asking candidates, because this is going to be a tough election to get candidates, particularly Democrats, not candidates, Democrats out to vote. As a candidate, tell voters why they need to get out to vote. What's at stake and why should they vote?
Oh, well, there's so many reasons why you should vote. I'm just going to stare at the computer right now. There are so many, aside from it being your civic responsibility, it's your card to citizenship, in my opinion. One of your rights and privileges as an American citizen is the right to vote. It's not driving. It's not, illustrious life. It's making sure it's government for the people, by the people. And if you don't make a difference by going out there and voting, you don't really have a right to complain, in my opinion. So I think it's important to go out there and make that difference so that you're not on the day after election saying, well, I don't understand why that didn't win, as many people have done in the last couple of elections.